Okay. Okay. It's 4 a.m. It's 4 a.m. here, and I couldn't sleep. So I decided I'd do another secret stream for a while. I got my Lovecraft video coming out tomorrow, so that's cool. Sometime in the morning, or I might hold it back to the afternoon, depending. But yeah, that's coming. But yeah, I was just hanging out. Thought I'd hop on YouTube and say, hey, hi guys, what's going on? Good morning, says Ragnarok. Yeah, what time is it where everybody is? Because here it is 3:58 a.m. All right, a lot of times I'm up at this time anyway, but you know, I was actually planning on being asleep at this time on this particular occasion, but it didn't work out like that. So I was like, I'm gonna get on this stream. Oh yeah, so some people are saying 9 a.m., 6 a.m., 1 a.m., 5 p.m. That's so funny. 8 p.m., 6 a.m. Mm-hmm. Well, you know, I was just hanging out. I was watching, yesterday, technically, I guess they were having the Iowa caucus in the United States, and they were deciding which one of the Democrats running for president would win the delegates from Iowa. And it was like such a huge nightmare. And they still apparently have no idea who won. So that's typical, right? They have no idea who won, apparently. And apparently they were using some weird app that they'd never used before to count votes for some reason. And then there was also this weird thing where they like didn't release this poll because Joe Biden was like in 4th place or something. And they were supposed to release it the day before the caucus or like a couple days before, and they didn't. And then it leaked, and Joe Biden was like at 4th place, right? And so like now, from what I was seeing, because like 2% of it came out, and like Joe Biden was like in like 4th or 5th place. Like he really just imploded in Iowa. So now the fact that for some reason they won't release the results, Iowa's such a small state too. It shouldn't be that hard to count the votes, right? So the fact that they won't release the votes, and then also this poll was held back, makes me think that it's like, and then there was also something about Joe Biden's lawyers being like, you can't release the polls until there's a recount because he's all freaked out about the fact that he's losing terribly. So insane. God, what has become of our democracy, guys? It is bizarre. And I was like, there's videos on Twitter where they were like determining who gets delegates using coin flips. They're flipping coins. Seriously, there's viral videos right now from last night of them flipping coins to see who the delegates go to. And that's supposed to be democracy? What in the world is going on? This is a simulation we're living. I am, as time goes on, more and more I'm convinced that we're living in a freaking simulation, and the masters of the simulation are just toying with us. It's so bizarre. I don't know, man. It's insane. Like the level of incompetence. And it's either incompetence, or there's like something malicious going on, or they're trying to hide something, which like both are. I was gonna eat this fruit roll up and not get so upset. Jay Midzer says the Matrix has us. So I learned that I could actually change the way this stuff looks. Oh, it says StreamYard. I'm gonna see if I can upload like a logo of me instead of it saying StreamYard right there. Where's that purple picture of me? I can't find it. It might be in the downloads folder. Screw it. Let me see which one. I'll just use. Just saw that one. I will use this one. That one work? Appear. Show. That looks lame. I'm going back to StreamYard and trying to figure. I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out later. Yeah, Tabby Smithfield says they're using faulty apps. I mean, that's apparently the story. That's apparently the freaking story, but it makes no sense. It's just very suspicious, right? That they decided to use this weird app and that nobody knows. They won't tell us who made the app. That's insane. And they won't tell us who made the app. They won't tell us who like paid for the app or anything. That, and it's like, hello, transparency. Democracy dies in darkness. Like, what is going on? This is supposed to be the Democratic Party. Who made this app? Who is behind this? Jesus Christ. Anime lover Nicole says, I want a teaser trailer for Dune. Same. I am ready for a Dune teaser trailer. Like, god dang it. I need it now. Come on, guys. I'm super excited for it. Hey, Quinn, are you planning on making more Lovecraft videos? Yeah, I was just saying at the beginning of the stream that Lovecraft tomorrow. Well, technically today. Lovecraft. I did a video on At the Mountains of Madness. I filmed it yesterday. I've been editing it. I'm gonna finish up the editing. Pretty soon, like after this stream. Upload it later today. So cool. Eric Basoff says, "Stop your conspiracy theories." No, I don't have any conspiracy theories. I'm just saying exactly what happened. Like it's like a stupid app that they're using. I mean, it's all it's suspicious. It's suspicious. It's just suspicious. And everybody that's looking at it can see that it's odd. Oh God, hit my microphone. I hope that didn't sound really loud for anybody that's wearing headphones. What? Oh. I love how my phone gave me a notification to let me know that I was streaming. Like, I know, phone. Jesus Christ. Which sci-fi or fantasy book would you want to see as a movie/movies? I mean, a lot of stuff. I'd be interested in seeing King Killer Chronicles, Patrick Rothfuss be adapted into maybe a movie. Yeah, I'd rather see a movie of King Killer Chronicles over a series. I could do movie King Killer. That'd be cool. I don't know, man. This whole freaking stupid Iowa thing just makes no sense, man. It just all makes no sense. And the fact that it does nothing but hurt, I guess, the winner, because Iowa has such a small amount of delegates that it really the delegates don't matter. It's really the fact that the person who wins Iowa gets all this coverage, oh, Iowa is such a predictive state or whatever. So the fact that it's just nobody wins, it just kills all the steam. So if tomorrow Bernie Sanders won, it's oh, it's less impactful and it's less. God, it just really screws over who won, and it was likely Bernie. So whatever, though. Just stupid. Just dumb. Freaking coin flips to determine who wins delegates. Just freaking bizarre. Schnick says, I'm suffering the big no sleep as well. Well, aren't we all? Well, not all of us. For some of us, it's 6 p.m. For some of us, it's 6 p.m. I should probably stop drinking out of this water bottle. I read somewhere that like if you have a plastic water bottle and you continue to refill it, eventually like chemicals from the plastic will I don't know, it's something, but it's apparently not great for you. So I should get like I should stop drinking. I've been drinking out of this water bottle for like a week. It's probably not good. Gunslinger says I work the graveyard shift in ATL. Is your name Gunslinger because of uh the Dark Tower series? Stephen King. Rager says, Quinn, how dare you question the narrative? Ha 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 ha. DNC is corrupt. I mean, it really does look like it. Calm down, Quinn. Oh, it's just the first primary. I know it's just the first primary. It's just very bizarre that it was such a train wreck. Like, where was the preparation? And why did they need to use this app that they've never used before? Just doesn't make any freaking sense. Amen says 9 a.m. in UK. Just finished my lab report. Cool. Jay Madig says that water sat in the bottle for 6 months before you bought it. Oh, yeah, you're probably right. It's probably bull BS. Probably BS. Do you watch bad movies? Occasionally I watch a bad movie. You know, there's movies from my childhood that are probably bad that I enjoy just because they're nostalgic. And you know, some movies are just like so bad that it's good. Come on, Pizzagate, GTFO. What's Pizzagate? Is that a real thing? There's so many gates these days. Everything is a gate. What the heck is Pizzagate? I have no idea what Pizzagate even is. Will you be doing more Stephen King stuff? You know, probably because I have been getting into the Stephen King universe. I have, and you know, I've been reading a lot more Stephen King stuff and really getting into like Joe Hill's like whole universe as well. Who is Stephen King's son, of course, if you're not aware. Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't need to hear about that then. We don't need to talk about Pizzagate then. What are your childhood movies? Oh my god. So many. The Wizard of Oz was a big one for me. The Never Ending Story was like huge for me growing up. I mean, so much. I really loved Alice in Wonderland, not just the Disney cartoon version of Alice in Wonderland, but there was this really super weird, like made for TV Hallmark version of Alice in Wonderland that came out at some point in the late 90s that I had on VHS for some reason. And for some reason, I was like terrified of it. And it had all these like weird puppets, and like Whoopi Goldberg was the Cheshire Cat. Like utterly freaking bizarre, but it's like the best Alice in Wonderland. I freaking love it. And it's so weird. Like, how did this even get made? So I really love that one. But then I also love that movie, Return to Oz. You know, the sequel to Wizard of Oz that Disney made that was like terrifying. Where it's like she goes back and like the Rock King has the slippers, and you know, it's a really weird movie. You know. Real Jelly says, OMG, I saw the Alice in Wonderland. Wasn't it weird? So weird. And I love the part where Tweedledee and Tweedledum give like the little puppet show about the clams. Like, it's so weird because like the weird puppets that they use, it just looks, when he's opening the clams and eating them and like taking out the little gooey bits, it just looks for some reason, because they're like these little puppet things, it looks so visceral and just like raw. I remember just being really impacted by it as a kid. It's a very strange movie. The Labyrinth was a big one for me. David Bowie. Um, God, man, such a good movie. There's such a sad love deep in your eyes, a kind of pale jewel, open and close within your heart. I'll chase the moon within your heart. You know, David Bowie like just kills it in that movie, man. And then I love that one song. You remind me of the Babe. What Babe? The Babe with the power. Power voodoo, hoodoo, you do what? Remind me of the Babe. I saw my baby crying hard as babe could cry. Such a good song. Such a good movie, man. That movie had a lot of like really creepy puppets too. And just like a lot of really scary scenes, man. I need to go back and watch The Labyrinth. Like I love the part where she like where it's like she comes to like the gate thing and it's like the two dudes and they're all like, one of us always tells the truth and one of us always lies. And then it's like she thinks she figures it out and then she picks it and then she falls in that thing with all the hands and all the hands are like touching her all over the place. Super creepy and weird. I'm like, what the heck? God. Yeah, The Labyrinth is one of those things that like should never be remade. Never touch it. Stay away from The Labyrinth. Oh yeah, The Dark Crystal is another one. And I also really liked the new Dark Crystal, the show, even though they went back and retconned a bunch of stuff. I really did like the new Dark Crystal. Lil Romeo Martinez says, thank you so much for the super chat, by the way. Do you think HBO will properly adapt The Dance of the Dragons? Maybe. We'll see. I don't know. See, that's the thing. It just depends on who's on it. It depends on theirs, and that's all. It depends on if it's someone that actually cares about the series and the source material and wants to bring what George R. Martin wrote to the big screen. I got some fruit roll up caught in my teeth. Hold on. Okay. Quinn, how old are you? You remind me of my kids. It's great. I am 25 currently, but I will be 26 in a few months. I will be 26 on May 31st. Turning 26. So God, I'm on the other side of 20. I'll soon be on the other side of 20. It's interesting. I still feel about 16, which is interesting. I definitely don't feel 25, and I definitely don't feel like I'm about to be 26. So, but I am somehow. Somehow that just happened. Somehow it just happened. Let's see. Oh yeah, I remember Legend. Legend was another really good one from my childhood. That was another one that was kind of freaky. I don't really remember what happens in Legend though. I remember like the whole bit about the girl touches the unicorn and then like the say like steals her and then Tom Cruise is like trying to go to hell to like get her. I forget exactly what happens in Legend, but I remember seeing it. What was that other one with the dwarf and the baby? Willow was another good one. Warwick Davis. I loved Willow. So good, man. I miss the movies of my childhood. I wish I could go back and erase a bunch of them. Page Master was also another one. I was big on Disney. Like I loved Little Mermaid. I loved Lion King. I love Lion King 1 and 2. I love both of the Little Mermaids. There's like Little Mermaid 1 and 2. And I always thought that the Little Mermaid 2 was like such a good follow-up to the first one because it was like in the first like wants to be on land. She's like, I dream of everything on land. But then later in her life, when she has a daughter, she keeps her daughter out of the ocean, and then her daughter like dreams of like going to the ocean. So it's like a reverse of like the first story, and it was actually done pretty well. Like only like those are two of the few, like Lion King 2 and The Little Mermaid 2 are two of the only like Disney cartoon straight to DVD sequels that are actually worth anything. Like don't bother with like most of the rest of them. But you know, I remember those. Yeah, Page Master. Toy Story was big for me. I haven't seen like the new Toy Story. It's like that. I feel like Toy Story 3 was like the end of Toy Story movie. It was like Andy was like literally going to college and giving away his toys. So it was like, okay, you guys fuck off. It was like 90s kids, like you guys can F off now, and it's time we're gonna remake Toy Story for everybody else. So like I'm fine with that, like takes whatever. But like two the first two Toy Story movies really are the ones that like hit me when I was a kid. Matilda, right? Right? I wanted telekinesis like Matilda. Matilda was a great one, right? God, every kid dreamed of just one day developing telekinesis and being able to just be an awesome badass all the time and like get back at all the adults that just walked all over you. Matilda is such a good story for children, right? I feel like all children should watch that movie. Such a good story. Such a good story. And it's also a story about how family, like you really do have to like choose your family. Like sometimes you're born into a family, but then that's not your real family. And you discover your family later in life. And that's one of the themes of Matilda because she was like born into the wrong family. I even think that they even say something like that in the beginning of the movie. Like it's almost like she's born into the wrong family and she like ends up being raised by the teacher in the end. Spoiler, the movie came out 20 years ago, so like whatever. 94 Evangelion says, can an adaptation of the later Doom books like God Emperor work for TV or film? Also, have you read Fireworks? 2020 already sucks. I have not dipped as far into George R. Martin's Snow on A Song of Ice and Firework as I should. And as far as God Emperor, I think it would probably work better for a film. I think they would be better off just doing like 1 2.5 hour God Emperor of Dune movie, since it is like a story that happens like over like kind of a relatively short amount of time. So like do like a God Emperor movie, I think, rather than like a whole show. I think. I think. What else did someone say? Hook, Hook, great one. Hook. Robin Williams was so good in Hook. Hook is another one that I need to go back and watch again. I'm sure it's on Blu-ray somewhere because I got a big giant TV. I should go like and watch Hook and put it on screen. I loved the part in Hook with the mermaids. I remember like I loved that part as a kid. I love the dinner scene, the imaginary dinner scene in Hook. So good. Uh, it's another one I need to go back and watch. You guys are making me nostalgic, bringing up all the movies from my childhood. So much good stuff, right? Just great stuff came out when I was a kid. I feel like, and maybe that's just because I'm like nostalgically connected to it, and I'm sure like kids 20 years from now maybe will feel the same way about like whatever crap they're watching now. But I don't know, man. I just can't see like some of the crap they're making now being remembered. But then again, a lot of the stuff that came out when I was growing up is not remembered. There was a lot of crap happening then too. But I think the dilemma is too, stuff that gets remembered, stuff that's good generally gets remembered, and stuff that's crap gets forgotten. So people tend to forget about all the crap stuff that came out when they were kids because like, but then there is that like really crappy stuff that like slips through the cracks just because a bunch of people saw it, like it played on Disney Channel or something. I don't know. Avatar: The Last Airbender was a good one. Another one that I need to go back and watch with adult eyes because that show is like better than I probably was able to comprehend when I was growing up. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Little Shop of Horrors. Oh yeah, man. Little Shop of Horrors. You just want me to sing, don't you? Little more standing beside you. Such a good movie, man. Little Shop of Horrors is definitely one of my all-time favorite, just like movies, musicals, anything, man. I love that freaking movie. Feed me Seymour. Feed me all night long. I love the freaking Plant song when he's all like, feed me Seymour. So if you don't know about Little Shop of Horrors, if you haven't seen it, like, I don't know what's wrong with you, but you need to go and watch Little Shop of Horrors. Basically, you have the character Seymour. It's about this guy Seymour, right? And where does he work? Is it like a barber shop? I forget. on. But one day, like he's like walking somewhere and he like sees this plant. It's like this weird plant that like came down from the sky or something. It's like this weird plant, he just gets it. But the plant is like some weird alien plant, and he names it Audrey too, like after this girl that he has a crush on, right? Named Audrey. Played by Ellen Green. But anyway, the plant, he starts to feed he tries to make the plant what you do to grow. So he starts giving it his own blood, and it starts getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and eventually like his blood is not enough to sustain Audrey 2, and Audrey 2 needs Audrey 2's are like feed me all night long. It's so funny, and it's like a musical, and it's so dark and twisted. And apparently in the original ending for Little Shop of Horrors, Seymour and Audrey get eaten by the plant in the end. But in the theatrical one that got released, in the finalized version, they actually live happily ever after. I don't know if you've ever seen like Family Guy. They parody of this song, Somewhere That's Green from Little Shop of Horrors, where she's like, Somewhere That's Green. But it's like the old, like, creepy guy from Chris, that character. So super weird, but yeah. That was a great one. God, I love Little Shop of Horrors. Let's talk about popular movies we hate, says Smitty. In my case, Rocky Horror Picture Show. You know what's funny? You know what's funny? I've never even seen that. Never even seen Rocky Horror Picture Show. Never seen it. I like Princess Bride. Princess Bride was one that I watched over and over and over and over again. Yeah, that Mr. Herbert guy from Family Guy. Like, what a weird character. Quinn, what do you think of Westworld season 2? I have not seen Westworld. I felt like that first season like could have been 6 episodes, honestly. I was like, for most of that, they were stringing me along. I was like, I know what's gonna happen already. Like, I feel like I don't really care. I don't need to watch it. I barely got through that first season. So it's like, and from what I've seen and heard about the second season, I'm just like not really too interested. Let's see. Okay, when did you first get into A Song of Ice and Fire, and how? Honestly, I can't really tell you. I think I uncovered the book somewhere. Maybe it was on a shelf somewhere. And when I first started reading A Song of Ice and Fire, I was probably too young, but the book ended up in my hand somehow. And it was just like among like Lord of the Rings and, any other like fantasy. So like I was reading it and it captivated me, but I guess I didn't really understand it the first time reading it. And only like 3 books were out when I first picked it up. So like not all the books were even out. So like I read it, and then I went back to it later in life and then like really fell in love with A Song of Ice and Fire. But I've been into A Song of Ice and Fire for like more than a decade. So yeah. Let's see. I never watched Mystery Science Theater 3000 when it was out, but I downloaded the collection a few years ago. I've not watched Mystery Science Theater 3000. I know a lot of nerds really love it. I just never watched it. Hey Quinn, have you seen the 2003 Sci-Fi Channel remake version of Battlestar Galactica? Everyone's always recommending freaking Battlestar Galactica to me. I know it's great. I've got to allocate time to watch it eventually. I have not seen it. I know. Don't take away my nerd creds for not having seen the Battlestar Galactica reboot. I will get to it eventually. Where can I stream it? Prime or Netflix? Probably not Hulu because nothing's on Hulu. Lauren, you want to come on the stream? Lauren, you can come on the stream. I'll send you a link. I shall send Lauren a link. I'm not sure how long I'll be streaming. We're gonna get Lauren on the stream. That is what you are. That doesn't even make sense. Oh, it kind of does though. Lauren on the stream, that is what you are, I guess. Lauren should be joining us at any point in time. Everyone's saying Battlestar is amazing. I know. I've heard it a million times from a million different nerds. But you know, when it comes to watching something that's like good and something that I know is gonna like require actual mental bandwidth, I have to wait to the proper time that I can watch it and properly enjoy it when I'm not so like mentally like clogged with other things going on. I have to be able to like focus, right? So I don't want to like take on the task of watching Battlestar Galactica and then only be able to give it like a front my attention. You know what I mean? BSG is okay. Lower your expectations, says Tommy Kelly. I love how when it comes to like nerds, it doesn't matter how much praise something gets. There'll always be like other nerds that are just like, this sucks. This thing sucks. Don't even do it. Like, just don't even watch it. It sucks. Without fail. That is Lauren. I think she's turning on her microphone.
Yeah, I had to mute the actual stream so there wasn't any feedback. Good morning, nerds. What's happening?
Oh.
I'm going to shut this curtain over because it's bright.
Marco says, have you seen the German series, Netflix series Dark? I've only ever seen season 1. I am not on season 2 yet. See, that's another one of those things where I've been like, I got to reserve it. I got to wait until I can like
so good. Such a good series. And it's one of those ones that makes you go, what the hell's going on? Right? And you think you've got it. See, when you get to end of season 2, you think you've got it, and then it throws a whole new curveball at you. Like, it's so good.
It's super cool sci-fi mystery. There's a lot of questions. And you get to see them unfold in like an interesting way. And like you said, it's really hard to predict in that show like what's right around the corner, what's going to happen next.
Absolutely. Oh, and BSG Battlestar Galactica, if anybody here is wanting to find a channel that kind of covers it, the Cylon Johns, my friends Johnny and John St. Baptiste, actually cover this with some other people on a regular basis. They've been working through the series. Like, I've watched maybe 1 or 2 episodes. It's not something that I'm completely into because it's quite old, but it is really worth watching. There's a lot of familiar faces, actors and stuff like that in it. There's Lucy Lawless. There's a whole bunch of people that are in it that I was watching with Clarissa when she was over here in Scotland last year doing like a genealogy hunt. And yeah, there was a lot of actors that I picked out that were just I didn't even realize that were in it. But I think you have to be like a certain age as well to be very much into that series. It's the same with what is that? Is it Science Fiction 3000 or something like that?
Mystery Science Theater 3000. That's like a show where you like watch along with the robots. It's like funny. I've like seen it, but I've never like watched it. Someone said, how do you feel about the Witcher show? I have not seen that show, and I really don't have any interest in watching it, to be perfectly honest. I'm just like, it looks like a D-list show. It looks, I don't know. It doesn't look good.
The Witcher is depending on how much, as good as depending on how much you're willing to be drawn into it and to be like part of the whole thing and the experience. I mean, I like it. Henry Cavill is no longer creepy Superman for me, so I mean, that's a bonus.
Yeah, Henry Cavill is cool, but you know, just like Witcher. I've seen it, and I'm just like, I don't have time to give my attention to this show. It just seems like it's a whole lot of. It just seemed like it's gonna be a bunch of like fan servicey, like mainstream, like this is like some generic stuff that everyone's gonna like, and I just can't stand stuff like that. I don't know. Maybe it's good. Maybe I'm just hating on it, just because I want to be a contrarian or whatever. But like, I don't know. It just doesn't capture me, and I feel like because people keep saying and then I capture me, and then I'm supposed to like it. It makes me not like it even more, even though I haven't even watched it. I
Yeah,
don't know.
no, I totally know what you mean.
Because everyone's all like, "Oh, it's the
So
next Game of
people,
Thrones," and yeah. Hipster Quinn,
people
exactly,
stop
Smitty.
pushing Quinn to watch it, right? If you stop pushing him, then he might get round to watching it.
Hipster, because Watchmen. Everyone was all like, "Quinn, you'll love the Watchmen," and then I actually did. I actually did like the Watchmen, so maybe like I'll actually watch The Witcher, and then actually like The Witcher. So, because Watchmen was legit, so maybe I'll like turn on The Witcher. But then that's the thing too. I've heard like very mixed things about The Witcher. So that's why. But so
Have
maybe
you been
there's good
talking to
and bad.
LML?
Yeah, and he's in the middle. It seems like he kind of likes it, and then he's kind of like,
LML's a hater. He's a straight up hater.
is he?
But for comedic purposes, right? Because I think it's because he spent so much time on A Song of Ice and Fire and Game of Thrones that when he watches The Witcher, that's all he sees. Which is fair enough. There's a lot of the houses and the Witcher school symbols that are pretty much the same and kind of characters and things like that. But it's a more kind of Eastern European
And it's more
sort of
fantasy,
story. Yeah. More modern kind of
It's way more
fantasy.
fantasy. It's way more fantasy. I mean, judging by the game, like I play the game a lot, and I know the type of stuff that happens in the game. So I'm just
Oh, the
like,
games are good.
it's not like A Song of Ice and Fire where it's like low magic. There's like sorcerers and sorcerers, and like wizards, and in the game in
What?
The Witcher 3, there's like the Wild Hunt, which are like kind of like god demon
Yeah.
things. So there's like all types of like stuff, fantasy stuff in The Witcher that's like really like intense and out there. Someone said something about Tadia. I saw it, but it passed by too quickly. No, I'll never see it again. I'll never see it again. The person that asked that question, type it again, because I didn't see what.
And while we're speaking of Tadia, the links are below. Go sign up to the mailing list so you get first priority on what's happening with it when it comes out, and you can order it because Quinn's comic book is going to be super, super awesome. You should get it because I'm going to be getting it.
Yes, indeed. So Tadia will be coming out in a few months. You can get put on the mailing list. Just sign up and get put on the mailing list. Your email, just put in your email, and you'll get like emails about updates and stuff and discounts. Anyway, so here's the question: did you ever cry or get emotional when writing your novel, Tadia? Heck yeah, yeah. And I had to at the end, I had to wonder about like whether or not I should like totally rewrite the whole ending, because I was like, wait a second, is this like way too like nihilistic and just like sad? Because like I just because like when you're writing, you kind of have to like hurt your characters. You have to like put them through stuff, and it's not always necessarily easy.
Well, the way I see it, right, is if you're crying your eyes out by the end of it, you've done the right thing, right? Because there's books that I've written, poetry and stuff like that, that at the time when I wrote it, it hasn't really sunk in, but when I've came to type it up, I am bawling my eyes out. I am absolutely like, I'm typing, I'm like ghost typing, freehand, whatnot, looking at these words, and I've got tears streaming, and I'm ugly crying and everything. And I know that book's going to be awesome because there's nothing people like more than being in that moment, feeling for the characters. If you've done your job and you've made them love the characters initially, and you come to the end of the book and things have came either full circle or not at all, then you've absolutely nailed it.
So Eric Bissau says, so we really want to know your thoughts on if Dune might be R or rated. Should it be R rated? I think it'll be PG-13. I don't think they're going to go with the R rating. I just don't think they're going to do it. But then Denis Villeneuve did say Dune was Star Wars for adults. I mean, it might push it, but I don't know if they're necessarily going to go all the way with R. We'll see though, because it's not like an R-rated movie can't succeed. And maybe them doing the R will like intrigue more people, because it's like, oh, what are they going to do? And they did talk about Paul's visions. I read that he has very like visceral visions that might disturb people. So that'd be interesting to see. And Smitty says, does it really need an R rating? Like at the level of like bloody they want to go, because I mean, Fremen culture can be interpreted in like it can be interpreted because like even it can be interpreted pretty brutally, like right. So like on the battle scene at the end of Dune, you've got like the children like running around and slitting the throats of the wounded because that's just what Fremen do. I mean, there's a lot of like knife fighting, and there's the potential for a lot of blood. So I mean, I could see an R-rated Dune movie being made. I just don't know if they're going to go that direction. Was Blade Runner 2049 R? Was it?
I
Was
have no idea.
Does anybody in the chat
Not
know?
something I watched.
Somebody in the was it 49 rated R, or was it PG-13?
What is rated R these days, though? Because like there's the rating R kind of gets pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed. So like how gritty and how gruesome and whatnot is rated R now? I mean, because The Witcher, for example, had a lot going on. It had tons and tons of nudity and sexual scenes and things like that.
But not Henry Cavill, though, as far as I hear. No,
He wasn't naked during the sex scene, but there was a sex scene for him, somewhat.
Yeah, I had a friend that was very, very because she felt as though Henry Cavill did not get naked enough. He did not do his duty. She felt like she was like coaxed into watching it, and he wasn't naked enough. But I don't know. So yep, people are saying that. Wait, was it freaking PG-13 or rated R? People like why are people saying PG-13? And I'm just gonna look it up. You can't trust the chat for anything. 2040.
I think it was out when I was working for the cinema because I used to work in Cineworld a couple of years back, and it was out. So it must have been PG-13 or something. I don't know. I think it depends where it was.
It was rated R.
Where it was out.
R. Blade Runner 2049 was R. Yeah, and it does have. Now that come to think about it, that makes sense because it does have some very just like graphic, visceral stuff going on. Like that final scene with like him and that other like chick. Oh my god, so brutal. Like she just really wanted to win. I like when she's all like, "I won." That's all she wanted. She was fighting so hard to prove like she's the best one. But yeah, it's so cool though. Such a Blade Runner, so good, man. So tense. I love how in that movie he totally took like the hero's journey trope and turned it on its head. Because you have this guy, this main. I don't want to watching it, people. CH Tabor Ordi. Oh, you mean the orgy? Well, it depends on how they want to interpret that. Because, you know, even people that read the books have different interpretations of what the spice orgy is actually supposed to be. But it does seem like there is like some sexual implication to it, or some going on. Because some people have said,
orgy,
like,
then,
I mean, some people have, yeah, but some people that read the books have said that the spice orgy refers to more of like a mental thing that's going on between the Fremen. But it does seem like that there does seem to be like a sexual element because like even in like Children of Doom when you have like the character Stilgar like looking in at like the preborn children, he says something like, but these aren't children, and then he qualifies that they have participated in the spice orgy. So does that mean sexual or soul? But yeah, I mean, yeah, I agree with Smitty. I think it's probably I think there is an element. There is a sexual. There's certainly an element of like sexual stuff going on. Because it's implied in Dune that's when he first like gets with Chani for the first time, right? After Jessica undergoes the spice agony and whatnot.
Drognar.
What was that?
Thorvalen is saying, I'll miss out a few bits. You're all missing the best ever Red Dwarf. Actually, no. I know about Red Dwarf. I grew up with Red Dwarf, and Red Dwarf is the science fiction comedy show from the BBC that refuses to die, you know, until like all the actors decide to pop it or are too fat to fit into their costumes. Like, it is funny. Red Dwarf is funny. It's just aging not so great.
I've never seen Red Dwarf.
You should. It's a very British show. It's been around for years and it's been decades now. Even it's just well worth having a look at a couple of the seasons, or even looking at some of the stuff on YouTube. You might find some episodes, like stray episodes.
Someone says it's like the soul bonding in Rick and Morty. It was not physical. I mean, it seems pretty physical in Rick and Morty with like the freaking dragons. I don't know if you've seen the new season of Rick and Morty, Lauren, but there's like a whole dragon thing where there's soul bonding, but it's like highly, it's there's a huge sexual implication.
I think I've seen the trailers, but I actually haven't watched it yet.
It's so good. I love the new season, but there was only 5 episodes, which kind of sucked. Super annoying. I need 10 episodes of Rick and Morty. God, 5 episodes of a
Why
cartoon.
is there only 5? That seems really weird.
No, God dang! Ever since like Breaking Bad years ago, like split their season in half, everyone's just been like, "We're gonna split our season. We're only gonna do 5 episodes." God, and then Game of Thrones did it, and they just solidified it. Now everyone's doing like
Supernatural
4
used to
episode
do that all the
seasons.
time, though.
What?
Like, Supernatural used to do that all the time, even from like season 1, like way back in 2000 and 2006, 7. It's that long I've been watching it. I've been watching it since the start, and they used to split their seasons.
But
I mean,
didn't they run like 20 episodes though?
Yeah.
Usually per season, they usually have like 20. But now they're doing like Black Mirror did 3 episodes, and then Game of Thrones did like 6. Like what? I don't know, man. It just seems
But
like
Supernatural's well into like their 18th season or something like that. So it's like they're slowing it down. They have to, because they can't fulfill all those episodes without watering it down. I mean, I think I stopped watching around season 10, 11, 12, and then picked up again halfway through 13, because there's no point. I just missed these bits out. Pick up on the good bits.
Aaron, thank you for your super chat. Hey again, have you ever been to the dunes in Florence, Oregon? This is the place that inspired Frank Herbert. I went there as a kid. It's beautiful. You know, I've been planning to go to a desert somewhere. I want to experience the desert. And no, I've never been there, but I did know that was the place that inspired Frank Herbert. He was like studying dunes or something. Went to the desert and got really inspired. Then he was like, I know what I must write. He was of God. He came into contact with an otherworldly being that told him what he must do. He must write Dune, the greatest sci-fi series ever. Shane Johnson says Supernatural is on its 15th and last season.
They say that.
Jesus Christ, that show's been going on for too long.
Yep.
Way too long. The Demon Brothers. I forget what it's even about. I honestly did. Like that show was on at the same time as like Buffy.
And just like, after Buffy.
Oh, really? It was running. When did Buffy end? Like what year?
I can't remember. I think
like 2005, 2006.
Because I started watching Supernatural when I was like 19, 18, 19. Oh, no, 17. And I'm 32 now. And the thing's still going.
Yeah. I was never super into Supernatural, though. I was never into that one. Or Buffy, really, any of those. How do you think South Park will change now that it going to be on HBO? South Park is going to be on HBO? What? When is this real news?
I thought Matt and Trey Parker wanted the show to die.
South Park is going to HBO? I mean, I think they could potentially do more on HBO. They might have more freedom with HBO. But then again, I don't know why they would leave Comedy Central when Comedy Central has like given them so much freedom, really, over the years. But like, I mean, potentially you could do more on HBO. But it's like, is this real? South Park on HBO? I don't want to like look it up. God, you freaking jerks are gonna make me look it up myself.
That's That's weird. I mean, because I've heard that Matt and Trey Parker don't want to do any more seasons because it's just been going on for so long.
No,
And they've
keep
had to
doing it
change the
forever.
show so much.
Keep doing it forever. No. No, because then it'll just be like Family Guy and The Simpsons still on, and then like Futurama's
Well, The Simpsons
dead.
is ending soon too.
Look, I personally think that Futurama didn't have a single bad season. Like Futurama like made until it died. Like Futurama was such a good show, and I missed that show, and I still say like you could still bring back Futurama, and I would keep watching it. But like, Thomas Kelly says Rick and Morty stopped mid-season. This hasn't been a whole season yet, but still only about 8 to 10 episodes. Yeah. Well, you know, I agree, Smitty. Futurama never stopped being good, and then that final episode of Futurama is so good. Like that final episode, like one of the best, not just cartoon shows, but one of the best like science fiction shows. Like period. Like there are so many like awesome, just like science like if you watch that whole show, like the way they set stuff up in that show and then like go back and visit it seasons later is so impressive. Like Fry being his own grandfather, like that twist. And then the fact that like because of that like weird like fact, because if it was like a paradox, he didn't have like the delta brainwave pattern. And because of that, when like the brain things invaded, they couldn't see him in their like prescient vision, which might be like a Dune thing. It wasn't like necessarily prescient vision, like they scanned the delta brainwaves, but like they couldn't see him. He was like the Siona of like the Futurama universe. I mean, he's the one like go up against them. And I was like, what are the cartoons are like doing like awesome twist like this? This is so awesome. And I feel like Futurama is still underrated, but you know, whatever. Rick and Morty gets the credit it deserves. I feel like Futurama does not. Yeah, yeah. People might get mad at me because I haven't seen the newest BoJack Horseman stuff. I've only ever seen season 1 of BoJack Horseman. Right. I know a lot of people really love it, but it's just I've not. Okay. I'm about to rant, Shane, because you just asked me about Merlin. How dare you ask me about Merlin? How dare you? See, I know some people are gonna hate me for this, and some people might love me for this, but like Merlin, I hate Merlin. Oh my god, that show grinded. That show grinds my gears, man. That show grinded my freaking gears. What? Merlin is such a little pushover coward to allow the king to just continue to persecute magic users and protect him over and over and over and over again. And like Merlin, literally, the character Merlin literally tries to kill Morgana. And then Morgana turns and goes to the dark side and starts. And Merlin is all like, yeah, Morgana is like on the bad side now. She's evil now. You tried to kill her. You tried to kill her. What? So I just couldn't stand that character Merlin. I could just never get behind him as a protagonist. I thought he was an idiot. I thought in a lot of ways, he was responsible for the persecution of magic users because he had every opportunity, so many opportunities to stop it, so many opportunities to throw a wrench in this whole system, and he chose not to over and over and over and over and over again. And I hated it. I could not get behind it. I hate. Maybe there's like some good bits of that show. Like there's some episodes that I enjoy, but for the most part, man, I can't stand Merlin as a character. It just really bothered me. Really bothered me.
I tried to watch Merlin. I tried to watch Merlin. I just couldn't. It's one of those shows where I'm just like, this is far too cheesy. It's not believable. I don't know what's going on here. BBC, what are you doing? Like you've dropped you've dropped the ball here completely. Yeah, I agree with you. It's not something I would watch.
See, I can handle cheesy. I really can. Like even Doctor Who is pretty cheesy, right? And I can even handle like that horrible CGI dragon and all of if if the characters weren't so bad, man. Like the characters are so stupid and so like not believable. And just like I kind of
See, the
dig the
thing,
bromance between like Merlin and Arthur, but for the most part, it's just like God. Ugh.
the thing about Merlin as well, they totally wasted Anthony Stewart Head as a character, as a person, as an actor. Because he's far better in other things than in Merlin. It's like, I'm not going to remember that he was in there. I just know his face is there. But what he was playing, I can't remember. And he's just totally wasted. I mean, like, he's far better in other things like Repo the Genetic Opera. What an amazing movie that is. Or Buffy, or all the other things that he's been in. I mean, yeah.
I don't know, man. Merlin pissed me off. I just remember like a point watching Merlin and just like consistently just being pissed off more and more with every passing episode. And like just being on the completely opposite side of the heroes. It was like, am I supposed to be rooting for Merlin and Arthur and the King? It's like, no, I'm totally on the side of these like pagan dudes that want to bring back the old magic. I am totally on the side of like Morgana and of like her sister. What was her name? Oh, God, I can't think. What is Morgane Arthurian legend? What is her name? Morgan Le Fay. Morgana's sister.
I
God,
can't
dang it, I
remember.
can't think of her name. I should know this. You know, it is actually 5 a.m. So, you know.
Smithy says,
It's on the tip of my tongue, though.
Metalocalypse never got an ending. Metalocalypse was amazing. Have you seen Metalocalypse?
Oh, that show was on when I was a kid. No, I never watched it. Morgause was her name. But no, I never saw Metalocalypse. No, but I mean, I did see it, but I never like watched it. It was on when I was a kid. It was like on at the same time as like Venture Brothers and a bunch of other stuff. It used to come on Cartoon Network. Morgause. Yeah, I was on her side in the Merlin show. I was like, yeah, screw these other people. It's like the king should be taken down. Like and when they revealed the reason that he hated magic, this asshole, this king guy hated magic because he to save Arthur, I think, and then it killed his wife. And so he blamed magic users for his mistake and persecuted magic users and like killed thousands of people. Like what? Jesus
Classic
Christ.
projection.
What?
Classic projection.
What's a classic projection? Oh yeah, him. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, projecting.
So, did you hear about what happened in the United States today in Iowa? Have you heard anything about what was going on?
I remember going to sleep and getting a notification that the Iowa primaries or something was happening.
Oh yeah, yeah. Look, so we should have known last night who won, right? It's very, very, very clearly Bernie Sanders, but for some reason they didn't release the results. They were just like, we're not gonna do it, and they're citing technical difficulties. They're like, and they're saying like there's no timetable for when they're even gonna release, and they're like, we might release them, maybe. What kind of miscarriage of this democracy is this? Seriously, and like nobody knows why. They're saying like maybe because of like this weird app that they're using to count votes that they've never used before. That was also there. People are looking into this app, and it's funded by like Joe Biden. Like it's funded by like Pete Buttigieg and Joe Biden, like two of the other people that are running in part. It's like so weird. It's very bizarre. Bernie did release partial results of like 40% because he was like, I guess his camp like predicted this. They knew something fishy was up, so they were counting themselves, and so like he released like results of like 40%, and it showed him leading by a pretty substantial margin with 40% of the votes counted. And I was looking earlier; they had released like 2%, and he was also leading with that 2% release, but release the freaking results. Iowa is a small state. It's not hard. Like it's not like Iowa is a small state, and this has never happened before. This is crazy. I mean, but
this shit is rigged, Joe.
There's viral videos. There's
Angel Bolton.
I was talking about this earlier. There's viral videos right now that you can look up on Twitter where they're trying to determine, like, I don't even know what they were doing, but they're flipping coins to see who the delegates go to. Right now, you can look this up on Twitter. I just saw 2 different occasions of them doing this. And there's one where the guy's like, we got to flip a coin. You just see the crowd being like, what? Flip a coin? Like, what? Like, this isn't democracy. And it's insane, right? Because like they didn't want to tell us like who was like behind this app. And I was saying earlier, like, why won't they tell us? Democracy dies in darkness, guys. Like, this is insane. I don't know. We'll see in the morning. But like either way, if Bernie did win, the fact that he didn't get to celebrate that win tonight when all the eyes were on it and be like, I won, is like, still, if they announced it in the morning, it's like, it's too late. All the steam's been like let out. You know what I mean? Like Iowa only has 41 delegates. It's not big. So the important part about winning Iowa is the media coverage that you get on that night. So it's like, I can't help but be like, maybe this seems like this is purposely because they look at it and they see that freaking Joe Biden is in 4th place. And they look at it and they're like, we gotta hurt Bernie. We gotta hurt the winner in any way that we can. Let's just not release it until it doesn't matter as much. This is really frustrating. I don't know. That's a conspiracy theory or whatever.
Also, at least on my feed anyway, when you go into like explore on Twitter, there's also a thing. It's like hashtag Bernie Sanders. It's showing like a Newsweek.com thing saying, when Donald Trump thinks of Bernie Sanders, he thinks communism. Like there's this very heavy rhetoric of, you know, trying to align him with communism and the Red Scare and stuff like that from last century, and like trying to align like socialism with that, and like it's trying to make them reject that and keep the system that they've got going right now, keep the establishment that is now. I mean, for the amount of people that think that Donald Trump isn't the establishment, he fucking well is. His family is the establishment. They're low in the ranks, but they are the establishment. His uncle used to work, I think it was for the FBI or the CIA. I mean, I think it was John Trump or something like that. Like, his family have had ties from the get-go. I mean, I don't see how people think he's like, oh, he's the man on the street and things like that. He's one of us. Is it fuck? Is he? No. He'll do anything and everything in his power to push the bar of being absolutely ridiculous. I mean, there's no statesmanship in him. Not at all. I mean, last night I was sitting watching some stuff when it comes to people that are on the Democratic kind of list. And I mean, I would happily throw on all my chips with Bernie. If I was American, that's who I'd be voting for. I mean, I would go for Bernie. I mean, for such an old guy to have such a forward-thinking way of trying to get people out of debt and get people a universal health care that everybody can take part in and be access to, rather than, you know, instead of calling an ambulance, they have to call an Uber. That's insane to me. Like, that's really insane. I mean, it's either, you know, you have to choose between paying your rent or going to the doctors or death. I mean, it's hospital or death when it comes to your medical bills and stuff like that. That's ridiculous. Yeah.
Funny. I can't pronounce your name, but hi, Sir Quinn and Lady Corner. Any idea why YouTube suggested you're streaming? I don't know why YouTube. Maybe somebody sacrificed a goat. I don't know. I don't know how to appease the YouTube algorithm gods, man. They do what they do.
That's suggested because we're awesome and because he's got a new comic book coming out and I'm Scottish. That's the reason.
Yeah, man. But I don't know what's going on with Iowa, with these Iowa Democrats. Like, get it together or we're losing the election again. Like, get it together. Like, if you subvert the will of the people again, Democrats, it's over. And I'm not even that's not even an exaggeration. If the Democrats again try and cheat this election, this will be, not only will they lose this election, this will damage the Democratic Party even more. People already don't trust because of 2016. If they cheat the will of the people again, they will lose any credibility they had left. And like, it'll be a sad future for this country. That's what I think. But you know, whatever.
I mean, like, even if Trump gets even if big F gets fully impeached, right? I mean, removed from office and whatnot, he'll be back and the next run, unless they manage to ban him. But you know, look, if this is the kind of thing that's going to keep going throughout your elections, then look forward to another Trump administration for the next 4 years, or whatever billionaire steps into his place next. I mean, that's populism is populism. It's a disease.
Yeah, you know, whatever. It's stressful. It's part of
Yeah.
the reason I couldn't sleep, but whatever. What's going on that's happy in the world? Anybody got some happy news? Anything happy happening? Probably not.
It's sunny here.
The planet's on fire. We're not happy. We're on fire.
There's some sunshine here, but it's still cold as fuck outside.
Oh, you know what, guys? I want Bernie Sanders to be president. I do. Hey, you know, this might sound crazy, right? Growing up, I saw so many of my family members and just people around me have their lives destroyed by something as simple as like, this guy was smoking a blunt, this guy was smoking a joint. So many people, black people and white, everybody get locked up for smoking weed in the United States. And Bernie Sanders wants to pass an executive order to legalize and to expunge the records, which would just help so many people. A plant when you've got corporations in this country right now making a killing off of selling marijuana. And you got people in California that are just getting rich off of this stuff, and then people here in Georgia that are locked up right now for marijuana possession, right? I should be able to walk outside onto my back porch, roll up a joint and smoke it if I want and be fine.
Hal 9000 is asking, is pot legal in Scotland? Technically, no, right? And I'm going to say technically because the police are far too busy to really deal with anybody on the street smoking it. If they catch you smoking it, they'll just take it off you and give you a warning. I mean, but if you get caught in the regular, you will be lifted for it. And I mean lifted, I mean taken to the cells. If you're caught with, like, if you're searched, right, and you're caught with maybe a little baggie or like maybe a quarter or half an ounce or something, then you will get lifted. But you're more than likely going to get a night or two in the cells and maybe community service if you're lucky. You're going to get jailed instantly for it. Now, when it comes to growing marijuana, that's a different story. There's a kind of loophole within the system here where if you are growing, say, less than 8 plants, right, regardless of how big they are, whether they're on a cocoa system or a half system or a hydroponic system, regardless of how big they are, if you're growing less than 8 plants, then you're more than likely to get community service rather than be jailed for it. It will go on your record, obviously, but you're less likely to have jail time for it. You might get a fine, small fine, but you'll get community service. Sometimes they won't even bother charging you for it.
Yeah,
You'll get like a warning. But if it's more than that, say if you're like, there's been some fannies recently in my area that have been caught growing maybe like 200, 300, 400 plants, but they've been all babies and stuff like that. They will get proper charged. They will get jail time. They will get fined, things like that. But generally, the police here are not so bothered about the whole kind of weed smoking. They've just legalized CBD and
that's legal here as well in Georgia.
Cannabis for medical use for people who have got like fibromyalgia and like my mum who's got MS, and all those different things. They are trying to push it to be legalized, so it takes like a strain off the police, because a lot of people are smoking it or they're growing it. But if you have intent to sell, if they find that you're growing with intent to sell, then you get like heavy hit for it. But generally, you'll get community service for most things.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I need to respond to this freaking comment. Schnick. If you don't like the consequences of smoking weed, then don't. The consequences of smoking weed are you get high. Like, you shouldn't have a government that has the ability to lay hands on you, put you in handcuffs, and throw you in a cell because you took a plant that grew to the ground and rolled it up and smoked it. What freaking sense does that make at all? And it's all just a big money scheme. You know, the first thing they tell you if you get arrested for marijuana, give us some money and we'll let you out. Give us money and we'll let you out. It's not about the drug. It's about money. It's about keeping people locked up. You know, alcohol has worse consequences than smoking weed. Like, people drink alcohol and then drive, kill 10 people, right? People take alcohol, black out, do things that change their entire lives forever. Like, weed has never changed forever. Smoking a joint has never altered somebody's life in a way that it can't be changed. Unless I don't know, man. I mean, I don't know what kind of weed you were smoking. You must have been like smoking like some, unless I mean, the act of smoking. What I mean, maybe like smoking a joint led you on a path to something. Smoking a single joint is not even gonna have the same effect of like taking like it's not gonna have the same effect of taking a couple shots of vodka. That's what I'm saying. You're gonna be high. You'll be high for a couple of hours, and you'll be fine. It's the war on drugs that causes all the problems. It's the war on drugs that creates all the crime. It's just like
the issue for like America is it's they're going hard on cannabis and things like that, but they're not going and cracking down on hard as like medical grade drugs that are made to be addictive. The opioid epidemic and thing like that is far worse than any like cannabis plant will ever do. I mean, there are strains of cannabis plants that are being bred that are much stronger and higher potency in THC that can cause some sort of mental illness down the line if you're a chronic smoker of it. But there are the other side of it, which is more CBD heavy, that's more medical use. And then you've got like different kinds or do different things, but opioids all do one thing. They wreck your life. I mean, it's big pharma that's benefiting from these things, and it's a vicious cycle.
Americans are just all on pills. All on pills, and it's just totally legal, and it's absolutely insane. But then, you know, locking people up for marijuana, it's fine. It's insane. It's insane. And it's just like our prisons are just full of people that are locked up for non-violent crimes. We need to totally overhaul this freaking system. It doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense. All right. What are you saying, person? And if you're in Georgia, if you really want to piss them off, just walk down the street drunk and high at an atheist. Drunk and you know what? That's the thing, though. You can walk around like drunk if you want here. People, they don't care. You can be drunk. It's fine. But if you want to smoke a joint, no, you're gonna get tackled by like 5 police officers. It's ridiculous. Quinn's ideas. Have you watched The Good Place? They talk about smoking a joint, getting 10 years in jail. There was a line that said the cruelty of the punishment does not match the crime. Well, obviously, yeah, I have watched Good Place, and I'm just now started watching the 4th season. I'm really excited about it. It's the final season, so yeah. The Good Place is good. It just really bothers me, man, that like in Georgia, you got certain parts of the country where they literally just they destroy people's lives over plants, over marijuana. People that are minding their own business. Like, how could you be more minding your own business when you're on your own property, like smoking some weed? Like that is 100% minding your own business, and they're locking people up for this. Well, like you can walk into any store in California, like any corner on San Francisco, in San Francisco, and find a pot shop and get weed. Buy as much as you want, and it's fine. Just people can't see that this is messed up and it's kind of sick. Yeah, how 9,000 hit a nerve, because I have seen firsthand people be destroyed by this. People's lives get like totally messed up for no reason. It's just weird, man. But progressively they are becoming more lax down here because CBD is legalized, and it's changing a little bit, but not fast enough. Not fast enough. Not only do we need to legalize marijuana, we need to expunge the records of everybody that's been arrested for marijuana charges. Everybody.
The big thing that's the issue is the big discrepancy between the state level of laws and the federal level of laws, where sometimes they contradict one another. So it might be legal in the state, but federally, on a wide scale, it's not. So
it's Schedule 1 in the United States. And that even makes it more difficult to research. They can't even like properly like research the benefits of marijuana or like the negative effects because it's Schedule 1 in America. At least move it from Schedule 1, but no, they won't even do that. It's so ridiculous because they have a lot of incentive in locking people up for weed because we have a for-profit prison industry in this country. More people in jail, more money they make. Hello. Ridiculous. Mr. M Gaming, exactly. We need to legalize the spice. The spice melange. He knows about the spice. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. And that's another thing in Georgia. People can't get jobs if they smoke. Like people. You can here's something that's so funny about it too. Like, let's say like you have a job, right? And you're working there, but you smoke weed on your off time and you get hurt at that job. A lot of people down here don't report being hurt because they test and get tested for weed. And if they've smoked weed, they can't report the fact that they've been hurt on the job. So they just have to deal with it. Is that not insane? How does like smoking weed when you're at home and not at work mean that you're not fit to do your job?
You know what's insane to me,
or that
right?
You shouldn't be.
You know what's insane to me, right? Is people get persecuted for smoking a joint, but most of the cops that I've seen or witnessed are severely overweight. I mean, if you're going to be a policeman or anything like that, you should at least get rid of the couple months overdue baby belly that you've got going on. I mean, like if you're not smoking weed, right? If you're not drinking, then your vice is food, and food, all the junk food, all the coffee, all the big massive steaks and whatnot, takeaways and whatnot that you're eating, it's going to kill you a whole lot faster than a fucking joint will. Mm-hmm. I mean, imagine how many police cannot run or chase a suspect because they're fucking overweight. I mean, what good
Those
is
are
that?
The ones that'll shoot you. We were just saying, like, if you see a fat cop, don't run because the fat cop will shoot you.
Yeah.
In America, I mean, okay, I don't want to offend anybody. That's obviously an over exaggeration. Joke, people, it was a joke. Gotta clarify everything on the internet because people shaming and cop shaming. Oh. Yeah, that's funny too. Sodomy is also illegal in Georgia. Sodomy. It's one of those weird laws that we have where it's like an archaic law that's just never been deleted from the books. There's also one where it's like if you're married, I forget how it goes. It's something about if you're married, you can take your wife to the courthouse and beat her with a stick or something. It's some weird law in Georgia that we have. And there's a lot of weird archaic laws that we still have. In a lot of states in the South here in America, we've got these weird archaic laws in the books that have just never been removed. They don't act on them, but they exist. It's weird. It's very weird. Rule of thumb, Bright Glory. That's what it's called. Because like the stick can't be, it can be no bigger than your thumb. So it's like what? Like someone can we just get a team of legal experts to just go and look at some of these laws and just like remove them. Strange, right? Strange.
Hmm.
Someone says that's an old English law. Well, it's still a thing in Georgia that they have not removed. So come on. We're so backwards. Oh, man. Dune versus Foundation, says Vishnu. Well, obviously, I like Dune more than Foundation, right? But I obviously respect the work that Isaac Asimov did in the Foundation books. That face of science fiction. Asimov certainly inspired Frank Herbert with Dune, so, you know. Asimov. They don't call him the father of science fiction for no reason, because he really is. He pretty much invented, you know, the galactic empire, you know, the galactic universe, in the sense that we see it, you know, repeated over and over and over again, you know, these days in the modern sense. Yeah. Oh my God. So many archaic laws people are posting in the chat. Sweden used to forcibly castrate anyone
Yeah, so that.
wanting gender reassignment. Jesus Christ. That. Whoa. It is
It
illegal
is
to
illegal
box
to box kangaroos within the city limits.
Is that because of like the movie Kangaroo Jack? Do you guys remember that movie from back in the day where there was like a kangaroo and it's like, I forget who's in it, but it's like I don't even know what's happening in that weird movie.
I think that's up there with the films the Australians hate. I think it's like the kind of equivalent to My Braveheart.
Kangaroo Jack. That's the movie anybody mentions when someone brings up Australia. Kangaroo Jack.
Or
I'm from
Crocodile
Australia.
Dundee.
Have you seen Kangaroo Jack?
Or Crocodile Dundee. They don't like
yeah.
Crocodile Dundee.
Crocodile Dundee. Still admit your wife to the insane asylum. What are you talking about?
Yeah, so over here and in some other places, if your wife didn't obey you, then you could admit her to the insane asylum, citing that she was like disobedient and whatnot. Or if you are an unmarried woman, even if you were an unmarried woman at a certain age, you can get admitted to the insane asylum. I mean, even if you were perfectly sane, by the time you were in there for a couple of weeks, you wouldn't be, because you'd be getting like shock therapy and lobotomies and God knows what else.
Jesus Christ, man. That idea of being in an insane asylum, especially one of those like old, like 60s, 50s, like insane asylums from like the movies and stuff, that just seems so scary. Being a sane person in an insane asylum.
So you have different kinds of asylums. So you have like the lunatic asylum, the lunacy one, that basically revolved around what psychologists believed back then, that infirm or disabled people or women that didn't obey their husbands and stuff like that were at the whim to the cycle of the moon. So like full moon would be the worst time, blah blah blah. That's where a lunatic comes from. And then it changed to insane asylum. So you're infirm, you're insane. And that's where a lot of the techniques came from, where it comes to shock therapy is basically torture. And then you have like lobotomies. People thought that because your brain was the center of your emotions, etc., that they could knock some of that out. But what they were doing was essentially destroying the brain and making you even worse. It didn't make you placid. It just made you like have the inability to do anything. And they would do it to people who wouldn't follow the rules or be quiet. And a lot of staff would basically abuse patients, put them in corners. A lot of places were overrun. There was just too many people. I mean, it was meant to be a place of recovery. It didn't turn into that. I know in the UK, eventually most of those closed down and they opened community hospitals and had lots of outpatient care. I mean, it was Margaret Thatcher, ironically, that created that kind of system to change into more community care. But that didn't last very long. They had to change the system. Yeah, really really terrible, terrible kind
You know
of
what feminine
places.
hysteria is? Do you know what that is? Feminine hysteria. Have you ever heard of this
Yeah.
term? So like it was like so if people don't know what that is, so like basically like back in like I don't know when it was, like the 50s or the 60s. So like you had all these housewives that were miserable that had been like sold this idea of like the nuclear family, like that you're supposed to be like a
Functionalism.
housewife and cook and clean and like, be a homemaker. And like as a result of this, you had all these women living at home and they had nothing to do all day and they were just basically miserable. So like eventually this thing called like feminine hysteria comes about and basically all these women were going to like the doctor to basically just get like massaged in a very intimate way by like this machine, basically a vibrator. So that and it was the cure for feminine hysteria, essentially. But yeah, the nuclear family was like. Speaking of the nuclear family, that's interesting because like, yeah, it was always pretty much a lie.
See,
And
that's a functionalist ideal, sociological level. Functionalism is like we all had part of the family. So 2.2 in the family was a way to reduce the numbers of the population and V up the population after the World War II. And I mean, women were so disillusioned because during the war they had gained jobs when their men were at the front. And when the men came back, the government had to make a way of getting those men back into work and women back in the home and put back in their place. So you could only do so many jobs. You could only do a secretary job or a cleaning job or ironing and stuff like that. But your sole thing was meant to be in the home and serving your man and stuff like that. He earns the money, he has control over everything, that type of thing. No wonder women were depressed. You've gone from being absolutely independent financially and things like that while your men are away to being shoved into a house, made to look like a Stepford housewife.
that's
All the time.
that's why I love that show Mad Men so much because it's all about that. And they even show in that show when that book, The Feminine Mystique came out, where that woman like went around like interviewed housewives and she like exposed the fact that like this whole new thing for like most women and like maybe like it's not really real or something that's viable, right? But yeah, that was super interesting. Like I learned a lot about the 60s from Watchmen. A lot of that I had to go back and like that sounds like really stupid. I'm not saying that like everything I know about the 60s comes from Watchmen. Everything I know about the 60s I learned from Watchmen. No, but the Watchmen does not Watchmen. Did I say Watchmen? I'm sleepy. Mad Men. Mad Men is what I meant to say. The Mad Men, that show can teach you a lot about the 1960s because it's really about like it's really just all about that time period and all the changes that happened during that time period. And it is go into the 1960s, and I really enjoy that show. But yeah, not Watchmen, Mad Men, the AMC show. Indeed, indeed, indeed.
I watched some of that show. It was pretty good. I didn't watch
It's
the full
so
thing,
good.
obviously, but I caught a couple of episodes.
Yeah, it's one of those that you have to like be into. You have to invest into those characters, and it's like, yeah. So if you're watching it, if you're watching the stream right now, hit the thumbs up, hit the like button, just in case you're watching it.
Smash them buttons.
Smash the like button. Yeah. Anyone keep getting lag?
Yeah, you are lagging just a little bit.
Me?
Yeah.
I don't know. It might be something to do with my internet connection. Who knows? I love how every time I'm
Probably.
like, it's so funny because every time I'm like thumbs up, there's always a couple people that dislike. So you know, there's like a few like people sipping on the haterade that are like
But listen, haters,
that are watching.
just to let you know, haters, every time you hit the thumbs down, it goes towards the analytics anyway, so it's not really going to do anything to the channel. So,
It's so
either
funny.
way, it's a win.
It's so funny. Like every time I'm always looking at it, and I'm like, I wonder like how many people are gonna dislike when I say like it, and it without fail, at least a few people that are just like, yeah, I gotta hate. Oh, okay. What was that? I gotta wait till this comment shows up so I can put it on the screen. Okay, there it is. Quinn's idea is Georgia still as bad as I recall it, as in you can't be too white in Georgia? I don't know what you mean by that. I have no idea what you mean. Georgia is actually, for the most part, pretty freaking chill. Like I would say, like people in general are very friendly in Georgia. Southern hospitality is a real thing, honestly. It's very like unusual that you find somebody in Georgia that's like rude or vicious or hateful at all, really. I mean, people have like different opinions about different stuff, but as far as like people just like being malicious in general, like it's not like a thing that you see like often. I mean, of course, like you walk into the store every now and again, you get followed around or whatever, or every now and again, like some stuff goes down. But in general, people are pretty cool. I think the South a lot of times does get a bad reputation. Obviously, there's a lot of negatives to the South, but not so bad. I'm the first to point out like issues or problems that we have, but yeah, yeah, right. Atlanta is super chill, right? Atlanta is super chill, and I've been going to Atlanta more and more because I grew up outside of the city, and now that like I'm an adult, like I've been going to Atlanta more and more just to chill. It's a cool place. It really is.
Quinn,
Yes.
you should come to Scotland at some point.
Scotland.
It's a totally different world, right? There's none of this white versus black type stuff, because I've noticed it more and more every time I go to the States, and maybe that was my own kind of ignorance, but we don't generally have that sort of thing here. I mean, there's all different kinds of people, especially within the cities and stuff like that. But generally, we're all pretty nice, really welcoming, and there's lots to see and lots to do, and it's just a completely different world here. Absolutely, you should definitely come. And well, if you do come over, right, and we'll show you some of the touristy shit, the really touristy shit, but then I'll show you some of the not so touristy shit as well.
Yeah.
Real Scotland.
So I'm coming. I'm coming one of these days. I'm gonna come to Europe and like visit a bunch of places at once. That's something that I've always wanted to do, and I actually wanted to do it this year, but then I was like, I gotta put out this comic, and that's like the main thing that I'm focusing on this year, putting out this comic, and then also Ultimate Guide to Chapter House Dune has become a bigger and bigger project. It's like basically a movie now. It's become increasingly bigger and bigger. So yeah. But yeah, I want to go to Europe so bad and see the world, start traveling more and more. But I gotta solidify myself first. So yeah, comic number. So I can't wait. I'm super excited about. If you don't know about my comic, Tadia coming out this year. Yeah, so there's gonna be like a paperback version. There's gonna be a hardcover version that I'm really excited about. There's gonna be multiple variant covers of Tadia. Matthew Weldon is drawing the freaking art. You can look up Matthew Weldon's incredible art. Yeah. Tadia's my whole few months. Click the link in the description. Get put on the email mailing list for updates. And then you can get like a huge discount when it actually comes out if you click the link in the description. Sign up for the mailing list. I'm super excited. I've always wanted to write a story about witches. I've always wanted to write a horror story. And here it is. And I personally think it's really creepy, and I think there's a lot of like unpredictable stuff that's like not typical of fantasy or the horror genre. And like I said, I was like worried at the end of like this first volume here, which is about 50 pages in comic form. So at the end of this first volume, I was worried that it was actually too nihilistic. I was like, God, am I like being too hard on this? Am I like going too crazy? Am I going too crazy with this? But I was like, no, I really do have to like hurt my characters and take from them in order for the story to feel like compelling, in order for it to mean something. I have to have them go through hardships. So that was something that was like really like hard to learn to do, like as a writer, to like put my characters through turmoil and like have them suffer a bit before I like bring them out of that into like a new place. Why am I not talking into the cam? Because my cam is over there. My mic is over. Okay. Now, I'll just move this over here. But yeah, now I'm talking to the cam. Are you happy? Are you happy? Yeah, man, get put on the email mailing list for it. Like, I'm really excited about it. We've almost collected 2,000 emails which is like really impressive since December 17th. Like, that's crazy. Get put on the emailing list, join us. And you know, it's gonna be so great when we finally release it. I'm gonna have so much fun when I finally have the hardcover in my hands. And whenever I start getting the pages from Matthew Weldon, whenever they start coming in, I'll start showing some of them on the stream. And, you know, that'll be really exciting to see the pages as they come in. Of course, I won't show all of them. We'll give away the whole story, but I'll show you guys like the most interesting pages and stuff like that. List will have access to even more behind the scenes sneak peeky stuff. He's clutching his book like Smeagol. My precious. She was precious.
I do the exact same.
It was precious to me. Indeed. Yeah. Well, that's Tadia.
So you heard the man. Go click the links below. Go sign up to the mailing list. Get everything in order. You'll get discounts. You'll get all this stuff. He is going to take the comic book land by storm as an independent publisher. And awesomeness. The artwork is absolutely stunning. Mike has got it on lockdown. And you know what? Just keep an eye out. I'm very excited for him. I mean, I publish my own books, but I only do poetry books and stuff like that, and short story books and novels. He is going next level with all this super intricate artwork and whatnot. It's well worth doing. It's well worth looking at and buying. I mean, you're supporting him. If you can't do like a monthly subscription on the channel or on Patreon and things like that, then at least sign up to this and get this one bit of artwork from Quinn. And if you ever get a chance to meet him with that book in your hand, get him to fucking sign it.
I'll definitely sign it. I'll sign anybody that has Tadia in any form. I'll sign anything that you want. Buy your book as comic and digital version, of course. It's gonna be a digital version, and there's probably eventually gonna be a novelization of the script. So I'll take the script, rewrite it into a novel, and then I'll also narrate it and release an audiobook form. So that's gonna happen. And then also a motion comic is potential. So yeah. A motion comic. So that's really exciting. I want to do a motion comic because like that's almost kind of what I do anyway with like the Ultimate Guide to Dune. So like if I had a motion comic, I could come in and narrate some parts of it. I could have other people come in and do other voices.
Nice.
And so it'd be like kind of like a movie. That'd be really cool. So I'm super curious to see if like I can pull that off. But the motion comic would be like something that's a little later on. We would have to release the initial book first, and you know, see how that does. Here's hoping that we do pretty good, because as I told you guys before, like I've seen some of the numbers with people that like generally like crowdfund comics and stuff like this. They usually don't have the push that I have with like having a pretty big YouTube channel with a couple 100,000 subscribers. Like I've gotten nearly 2,000 emails since December 17th, which is not typical. It takes people months and months to build up these email lists. So we're doing real. When the campaign actually launches, we'll be boosted up in Indiegogo's like algorithm, because we'll have a flood of people getting the email and going to it, and you know, yeah. So we're excited. Gwen, who's the guest? This is Lauren.
Hi, I'm Lauren from Lauren's Corner. Go check out my channel. I've got lots of poetry. I do book reviews. I do live streams, study with me's, a whole host of things that I feel like. I also have another channel called My Student Diary, where I'm basically vlogging my experience as a mature student and a whole bunch of stuff. So if that's your thing, then go check me out. Have a look. What was that comment you just put up?
Oh, it was Smitty. It was just some stupid stuff. He said, I want to run my fingers through Tadia's curls while she looks up at me.
Oh,
that's sweet. You stay away from my daughter, Smitty. Okay. Quinn's ideas. Will there be a sequel, or is a series that grows from the book, or will it be a standalone? All right. So this first graphic novel, approximately 50 pages. It might be longer depending on like how Matthew Weldon interprets it. So we're thinking about it in about 50 pages, this first volume. but it's 3 volumes in the complete story. It's gonna be. We'll see exactly how long it gets, but every volume is. I'm thinking it's gonna get longer and longer. But Tadia does have a definitive beginning, middle, and end. It is one story. But I already do have like other stories that I could tell from within the kingdom of Arath. I mean, there's the prequel of Elden, the Warlocks of the Mountain. I could get into that. I talked about that a little bit on one of the other streams, like the backstory of Marath and the men that prayed to Baelor in the mountains that surrounded Elden Adreono. And then there's also I was thinking about doing a tale about the Scarlet Ocean and what could potentially be happening in Mara. There's lots of potential stories that I could potentially tell within this universe, within like the whole Marath setting, depending on how Tadia does. And we're hoping for a pretty decently done.
Are you cool if I show
Decent
some of my
campaign.
books? Is that
Yeah,
okay?
go ahead. Go
Okay.
ahead and show.
So I do writing as well, but as I said, I do mostly poetry and whatnot. I do short stories, and I'm working on a short story book at the moment. But this is my first book, honest poetry. This is the first one. You can tell it's the first one because it's really small. I made this cover myself. You can get these on Amazon. If you go to my channel and click on one of my recent videos, you'll get the link to my Amazon authors page, which I've got set up. This is Break the Chain. This is my third book. Again, pretty thick. And I've got Crazy Diamond as well. All these you can get on Amazon. My throat is not happy this morning. You can get these on Amazon. There are loads of different poems in here. It's not very flowery poetry. It's free verse. There's a lot of free verse. There's some Scots poetry in here as well. There's a lot of down-to-earth human emotion, very honest, in your face, no covering stuff up. The only thing that I don't mention is names. I look at the world. I see the things that other people don't see. It's the small things in life. Crazy Diamond itself is basically, I took the name from a Pink Floyd song. And it's basically in honor of my stepdad. And Break the Chain is basically about letting go, breaking cycles that you've been in for years and appreciating what you have. And I've got a fourth book basically finished and I'll be publishing very soon. So yeah. Quinn.
Awesome. Go to Lauren's channel. One said, Quinn's idea is where you sell the rights to the universe to Disney if they offer you enough money. You know what? I would have to J.K. Rowling that ish. I would have to be like, I need to be involved at every step of the way. That's the only way. It wouldn't be like a George R. R. Martin situation where it's like, I'm gonna let you guys do most of it. I would be like, nope. I need to be like at the casting. I need to be like reviewing scripts. I need to be looking at everything. So
JK,
it wouldn't be just like
to the rides, right? Disney were trying to get the theme park rights, and Disney were throwing out really crap ideas. I was watching all about this last night. If you haven't seen any channels like Defunct Land or Yesterworld or something like that, you should go see them. They're about like old attractions that are basically defunct and are out of business now. But Disney tried to get the theme park rights from Rowling, and what they gave her was absolutely trash. She literally took their ideas and threw it off the desk and stormed out a meeting, right? And she went back to Warner Brothers and Universal, and they gave her the Hogwarts Castle. They gave her all these rides. They even created a new cinematic feature within one of the rides that was similar to the Spider-Man experience that they've got at Universal Islands of Adventure. I mean, they gave her everything, and Disney were only going to give her this small little corner with like a really tiny scaled down version of Diagon Alley and like a few restaurants, and that was it. There was going to be no real ride. There was going to be none of this. And they kept trying, but what they were trying to do is they didn't believe that it was going to be a big thing.
And Harry Potter World is so awesome.
They wanted to get the rights to it for a low amount of money, for a bigger reward, low risk, etc.
Do I need to go get my robe and my wand from Harry Potter World?
Warner Brothers and the Universal were far more open to doing a hell of a lot more with it. And it was the right choice, to be fair. Disney were never going to do anything really great with the Harry Potter franchise.
Yeah. And I've only ever been to the Harry Potter World in Florida. So I don't know what the one in like over in Europe looks like. but like I'm sure it's better because I've heard that it's way better. But like the one here is like so awesome. Like I love Diagon, and when you walk, it's so cool on every level. And then there's like a train, and you ride the Hogwarts train, and it takes you to the castle that's like on the other side of the theme park somewhere. It's just it's just so cool. And when I was there last year, me and my like four buddies, we all bought robes. They were like $115. I was like, I'm getting these robes. Like I don't care how hot it is, but it was funny because it started raining.
It's the only time an American will wear a school uniform. If it has to be like from a mythical place. It's normal in the UK. All of us grew up wearing school uniforms that are basically belong to the school that we're at, whether it's the primary school or the high school. We grew up with the shirt, the tie, the blazer, and the grey trousers or the skirts. This is normal for us. You're like, I want a Gryffindor. Give me the robe.
I mean, every one of us like dreamed of like going to Hogwarts. So it's like we all got our like we got our robes and we got our wands and we just got pretty much plastered in the theme. It was awesome. And it started raining. It started raining at some point, and it was just like, we don't care. We got all these robes. We put on the hoodies, and they've got like little points. I haven't had that much fun in a really long time. That was like being a kid. And you're just in. And what's so awesome about it is like if you get the interactive wands, there are places in the Harry Potter world where you can go and like interact and like do magic with. And that is so cool. That is like, I can only imagine being like a little kid that like loves Harry Potter and like going there and like getting the robe and like getting all suited up and getting the wand and like visiting Hogwarts and like learning magic. Cause like at the little things, it's like you have to practice it. Like you have to make like certain little shapes or symbols or whatever to do the spell. So it's like you got to learn the magic and like figure out how to do it. Man,
I love how cute the Americans get when they get close to like the Hogwarts castle and they're like, "Oh my god, a castle!" But I grew up in castles. Like I used to.
It's not even a real castle.
I used to sneak into Linlithgow Palace all the time. My mum's family are from Linlithgow. So like when we used to go down to the loch side, there's this path that leads up to the palace itself. So when I was younger, I used to leave the play park. I'd walk up the path. I'd like basically sneak past the pay desk and I would wander that palace. I would go down to the dungeons. I would walk up all the stairs. Obviously, you can't walk on the ramparts because they're basically blocked off. But I would wander that whole place. I grew up with tales from my great uncles about how they found underground tunnels, that they used to explore escape tunnels. And I remember one time he was saying to me that him and his brother were coming out of the tunnels.
Don't say that, Mr. M Gaming. Narnia's pretty good.
Okay. They were coming out of the tunnels, and the minute they got out of the tunnels, that tunnel they were in collapsed behind them. Like they were very lucky. I've also grew up around Stirling Castle because my uncle was part of the regiment that their original barracks was Stirling Castle. So they would.
Everybody from Europe has royal blood. Everybody from Europe I've ever spoken to has always been like, "Oh, my family is royal." And I'm sorry.
See, I don't know if I'm royal because my dad said that my granddad did genealogy, and he thinks or he claims, and I'm not 100% on this, that we're descended from Irish nobility and royalty. But I can't be 100%.
You know what the thing is in America, though? Everyone claims to have Native American blood. Everyone is always like, "Oh, I'm this much. I'm Native American." Like always. And only some of them ever are.
I never hear that, right? Yeah. Whatever I hear when I'm in America and they hear my accent and they realize that I'm Scottish is, "Oh my God, you're Scottish. I absolutely love your accent. My grandfather, my great grandparents were Scottish, and I love it. I'm absolutely descendant." See, if I had $1 or a quid for every time I heard that, I'd be fucking minted. I would be rich as hell. Like, of course, your parents, your descendants were Scottish or British or whatever. That's where they came from.
Yeah.
Did you hear about the British invasion and then you decided, you know what, we're done with this? Do you want to know where you got the idea for independence from? It was from Scotland. Because you were like, yep, we're in America now. We're in a big land. We don't want to be a part of this. Let's do this, you know?
I had a good friend who loved like potatoes, and she would always be like, I love potatoes so much because my family survived the potato famine. Like in Ireland or whatever. So she always be like, oh, that's why I love potatoes.
Tiddly dee
Like,
potatoes.
what? That's necessarily how it works. Oh man. Ideas Slytherin for life. Heck yeah. House Slytherin, baby. You know it. I definitely got my Slytherin
I did
robes
the
from Harry
Pottermore
Potter World.
thing.
The what? What house are
I
you?
did the pot. Apparently I am Ravenclaw.
Ravenclaw. You know, have you ever heard the theory that in the Harry Potter universe that when it comes to the sorting hat, it'll just let you pick if you choose to pick, or that like to get into Gryffindor, you have to pick Gryffindor, because you know that Harry Potter picked Gryffindor, even though it wanted to put him in Slytherin. But like the theory is,
Potter was saying not
not
Slytherin, not
Slytherin,
Slytherin, not
and then he just goes
Slytherin.
Gryffindor. But the theory is that Hermione should have been Ravenclaw, which makes her get into school, right? But she's in Gryffindor. And then the theory was that Ron maybe should have been in Hufflepuff, which also totally makes sense because Ron is totally a Hufflepuff. He like broke his wand in the second year. So it's like maybe, so the theory was like maybe like you have to be brave and like desire something else or something to like get into Gryffindor, because their whole thing is bravery. So I don't know. That's just like the weird little theory that I heard. But it does make sense because Hermione totally is Ravenclaw. She totally is just like super smart and like awesome. And Ron totally seems like a Hufflepuff. And then also so does Neville. Like, why the heck is Neville in Gryffindor? You should be a Hufflepuff. And then, you know, I don't know. Harry should be in Slytherin. It's literally a parcel mouth. One time in 6th grade.
You stick a foot up your pussy?
What? No, one time in 6th grade. It was around, I don't remember when the Harry Potter, the second movie had come out, but it was like when he was speaking Parseltongue. And I remember like I was just in the back of class, like, and the teacher wrote me up. And I was like, what? I was just speaking Parselmouth. God dang it. I hate it in middle school. Teachers didn't understand me.
Remind me what Ravenclaw's traits are, because isn't Ravenclaw...
They are like super intelligent and like perceptive and like smart. And that was totally Hermione. She was always figuring everything out. She was at the last minute, it's always like, I figured it all out, guys. Here's the answer to everything. Because I'm Hermione and I know everything. So I don't know.
So Mitchell... yeah, my Potter War is pretty much on point then. So I'm Ravenclaw.
Mitchell Dale says, nerds.
Nerds.
Nerd. I'm not a nerd. Don't call me that. Just kidding. I'm total.
My nerd badge is due an upgrade.
Total nerd. Yeah. Did you not get that reference, Quinn? I guess not. She was a super hard worker too, though. Who? Hermione? Yeah, of course. But that's also kind of like a Ravenclaw thing, isn't it? I want Slytherin to be better represented in future works. Yeah, I hate it how kind of they're like racist against House Slytherin in Harry Potter world, in like the Harry Potter universe, because it's like, why even have this house? That's because I remember at the end, I don't remember if this happens in the books or not, but in Harry Potter in the movie, when the battle is going on, they literally take them in the dungeon. They're like, Slytherin students, you all could just go to the dungeon, actually. You're not gonna be Jesus. You know, I don't feel like the house you're in Hogwarts should determine your future as a wizard. I don't think it should. Because everything that we know about Harry Potter, like Harry Potter's dad was a total douchebag. Harry Potter's dad was a total asshole. He totally was a bully. He bullied Severus Snape. So, like, Harry Potter's dad was a jerk.
I love the theory that Neville Longbottom was actually the other child that...
The chosen one.
The other chosen one, the other one who lived. I think that's an excellent theory.
Honestly, it makes even more sense in the movie. You know, Neville kills Nagini. Neville chops this, and that was the final Horcrux. And then, like, you never see, like, Harry, like, hit Voldemort with the final blow in the movie. Like, in the movie, he just disintegrates, where in the book, like, he gets hit with, like, his curse rebounds and he gets hit and he just dies right in his body, and they like drag his body away. But like in the movie, Neville takes off the snake's head, and then like a few moments later, Voldemort just disintegrates into nothingness. So it totally seems.
Doesn't he pull a sword from the sorting hat or
Yeah, he
something like
does.
that?
He pulls it out and he kills the snake. He saves like Ron and Hermione, and then like you see, and then you see him and Harry fight for a little bit longer, and then they just stop, and then Voldemort disintegrates. So it seems like maybe it was Neville in the movies, at least.
That's the number one rule. Don't fuck with the quiet kid that you think's got
Exactly.
nothing.
You know, in the Harry Potter movies, that guy that played Neville, they like forbid him from like losing too much weight and getting his teeth fixed. And then like after the movie, have you seen what he looks like now?
Is he a total snack?
Yes. Like after the movie, like well, a lot of the people in Harry, I feel like most of the kids in Harry Potter had like glow ups, like Hermione, but she was always a cute kid. But of course, like Emma Watson,
So he's basically went from like he's basically done a Sweet Robin. He's went from being this ugly kid to
yeah,
an absolute snack.
Yeah, because transformation too, yeah. And but everyone was like Neville, like, oh my god, I can't believe how much Neville like grew up, because he totally changed. Totally changed. Got his teeth fixed, got abs. They just completely looked totally different. But you know, I was saying like another stream though, Harry Potter was the perfect example of why David and Dan were like full of crap when they were saying like, we gotta rush it because we don't want everyone to like the kids to age up. Yeah. And I'm like, please, Harry Potter looked at least 35 by the time that Deathly Hallows came out. He like, there's a scene in Deathly Hallows like where he takes off his shirt and he's got like a full like chest of just like thick. Like he does not look 14 anymore. Like, who are you guys kidding? Like, come on. It's not like, and it doesn't matter though, because like by that time you've like grown to like see him as he is. So that's why with them being all like, I'm not saying literally 35, Smitty. Doesn't literally look 35, but you know, it's not as big of a deal as it seems like.
Jen Kispit is asking, are you sure you don't want to discuss open spades with Lauren? What's open spades?
I don't know what that is. No, Harry Potter looks at Deathly Hallows. You know what? I'm not even gonna walk that back. He looks at least about 35 in Deathly Hallows. He looks at least about 35. Not John. Like it's John. Ron looks about 48, 46. No, these kids are geriatric and they're still being like they're 15. No, I'm kidding. No, that's harsh. No, I'm kidding. They looked. I'm not trying to say they looked bad. You guys are taking my words and spinning them incorrectly. It was a freaking hyperbole. Look up the freaking word. Hyperbole. Exaggeration. A stretch of the truth for dramatic effect. You understand the meaning behind this. You understand that I don't think that Daniel Radcliffe literally looked 35 in Deathly Hallows. I hate you guys. Just kidding. You're cool. Isn't Daniel Radcliffe in like some new thing that I saw where he's like a king or something? I saw something. He's playing some new character that I saw. Now he's a pretty good actor. There was this movie that I saw called The Forest that he was in. He does this excellent, I guess, like Scandinavian accent or something. And it's, I think, based off of a true story where this guy just like goes on, he's on vacation guy, and this guy's like, let's go through the jungles of like South America or something. And so they're just or somewhere, I forget where it is exactly, but they're in the jungle and he gets lost and separated from everyone else, and it's so like crazy and intense. Such a good movie. Horns was another interesting one. Horn was a nice, interesting, metaphorical movie. Harry Potter nerds are cringe. Do nerds steal all your girls? Lord of the Rings too. I like, Harry Potter nerds are cool.
Nerd here.
Harry Potter. I love Harry Potter, I'm not saying that J.K. Rowling is like the greatest, but those books are great. They shall stand
I've
the
never
test of
actually
time.
read. I've never read the Harry Potter books, but I look up to J.K. Rowling as a Scottish writer, and and because she's um and because she's donated a hell of a lot of money to MS charities, MS Society, and things like that have like benefited my mum and a few other folk.
That's good. She's one of those, really rich people that's fine with giving back. Because you have like people that become like billionaires or multimillionaires and they like hide their taxes and like bank accounts. But I've seen J.K. Rowling even say things like, well, like of course I'm gonna give back. Like I was on like government assistance and
Yep.
like that helped me. So like why would I want to hide my taxes and not give back when that helped me get to where I am? So she just seems like a very genuine person to me. I
She
like
went
J.K.
through a
Rowling.
hell of a lot before those books got published. I mean,
Yeah, they told her
like
it was too weird.
I think she got divorced and then she was going through a suicidal period. Her mom had died and things like that. She was on benefits and she was basically sitting in I think, a brother-in-law's cafe writing all the time, like trying to make somewhere. He gave her free coffee and stuff like that all the time until he believed in her. I mean, that's the kind of person you need at your back when you're a writer, when you're doing those things. I mean, I have that from my friends. I mean, I've got one friend who's always telling me, like, Lauren, see when you're rich and everything, you can afford your own car, your own house, and stuff like that. Like, didn't forget me, mind all those coffees I've bought you and stuff like that. Hell yeah, I'll buy you your own coffee house if you want.
Man, J.K. Rowling is cool. You should read Harry Potter though. There's a lot of little bits that aren't in the movie.
Yeah, my friend's really obsessed with it. Like my friend Valerie, she's her and her partner are completely obsessed with it. I think she's a Ravenclaw and the partner's a Slytherin.
Uh-huh.
Like they have their own little set up in the house where there's lots of like Harry Potter memorabilia and stuff like that. They're absolutely obsessed with it. But I've more been into comic books first and then going into different series. Like I used to read a lot of Anne Rice, and reading a lot of Charlene Harris, and then into Terry Pratchett, Neil Gaiman. I love Neil Gaiman's novels.
You know what? You know what? Green Planet. Maybe they should get taxed at 90% again. You know what? If Jeff Bezos has $100 billion, he doesn't need $100 billion. So yeah, maybe he should be taxed at 90%. And, in America, when they talk about a wealth tax, they don't even talk about like literally taxing all of their income at that much. They say like over a certain amount. Like Elizabeth Warren, she wanted to tax her wealth tax was like 2% at every dollar over 10 million. I'm like, in what universe is that like a crazy tax? I mean, but period though, Jeff Bezos doesn't need $100 billion. Give me a freaking break. People starve in the United States. And and people like are so bad to the homeless here too. It's just like putting up spikes. They have homeless spikes where like they don't want them to sit on the sidewalks, so they'll put up spikes.
Oh yeah,
So they
they've
can't
done
sit
that
there.
here. There's certain places
It's
even in
crazy.
England that they'll do that. It's legit.
Well, you guys don't want to hear my crazy politics. I gotta go finish my Lovecraft video. I've been procrastinating. I filmed it yesterday, and I gotta finish editing it and get it out today so that you guys can experience the madness of the mountains.
I'm procrastinating as well. I should be doing seminar questions on Jane Austen's Emma, which I don't want to do because snore. Yeah, I'm avoiding uni like the plague right now. It's not my favorite place. But yeah, this has been fun.
Yeah, it's been fun. Well, anytime, Lauren. Like I said, guys, if you're interested, get put on the mailing list for my upcoming graphic novel, Tadia. It will be released in a few months. And like I said, I should be revealing the actual internal art for the book whenever I start seeing pages from Matthew Weldon. You can look up his art. He's phenomenal. He'll definitely be on one of these streams at some point to chat about any projects he has going on and chat about the whole like Tadia and all this stuff we got going on. Click the link, join us. Become one of us. You cannot resist. Ideas. I forgot if you answered this, but check out Herbert West Reanimator. If you haven't, it's 80s horror movie. Okay, thanks for the recommendation. Thanks, guys. Definitely check out Lauren. Do I have any moderators here? I don't know. I don't have enough moderators. Actually, I need to start watching. Okay, so like the next stream, guys, I'm gonna be like auditioning for moderators. So you guys got to be on your best behavior because I do not have enough moderators. I have like 3 moderators, like seriously. And it's like when Alicia's not here, or it's like when Lauren's here with me, like she can't moderate. So it's like I need more moderators. So
I don't even think I have a spanner.
You're not?
Hold on, I'll type in. No, I don't.
Oh. I don't have. See, I told you I do not have enough moderators. I think it's because I just started doing streams again, and I guess when I used to do streams, I had a certain set of moderators, and I guess a lot of those people hate me now, or just think I've turned their backs on me, like a lot of people do. But you know, it's whatever. People get bitter and jealous and angry, and they take sides. But it's whatever. You know, do what you want. I don't care. I don't care. I don't need anybody. I don't need anybody. I need you. You got me. Anyways, I'm just kidding. Anyway, guys, like I said, be on your best behavior for the next stream because I will be auditioning mods. Peace out, guys. Have the best day ever.